Welcome back to day 3 of our final exam review unit. Our goal for today, given an equation with multiple variables, x, y, z, m, h, okay, any letter that is an unknown can be used as a variable, you will be able to manipulate the equation to solve for a specific variable. So today it's all about manipulating our equations. All right, this is also called solving literal equations. All right, before we get started with this, I'm going to go ahead and give you a few steps that we're going to use each time we want to solve a literal equation. Okay, so up here, let's go ahead and write down our steps. So step number 1. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to undo parentheses if needed. Okay, and I'll show you an example of that in just a few moments. Number 2, we're going to undo addition and subtraction. So we're going to transpose our variables from side to side using addition and subtraction. Step 3, let's go ahead and we're going to undo division. Step 4, we're going to undo multiplication. And then step 5, we're going to undo our exponents. And that whole idea of undoing means we're going to look for that and then we're going to transpose that idea to the opposite side. So let's go ahead and let's follow these steps through a couple different problems. So number 1, solve for x. We're solving for x here. That means I'm going to circle my x. I'm going to leave the x right where it is, and I want to bring everything else to the other side. So first we have to look, can we undo parentheses? There's no parentheses. Undo addition and subtraction. Is there any addition and subtraction here? Nope. So step 4, undo division. There's no division here. Undo multiplication. Let's take a look. The s and the x are touching. If two variables are next to each other, that means there's multiplication there. So how do we undo multiplication? Well, we're going to use division. So we're going to divide both sides by s, because by dividing by s, the s's here are going to cancel. And our final answer is x equals 8 over s. And now we have solved for x. Now let's take a look at number 2. It says solve for x. M equals 2 parentheses, x plus 9 parentheses. I'm going to circle the x. Okay, so I want to keep the x right where it is, and I'm going to bring everything else to the other side. So step number 1, undo parentheses if needed. Well, let's take a look. Right now, is your x inside of the parentheses? It is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and distribute, because I want to go ahead and make sure that I can get my x to the outside. So we're going to have m equals 2x plus 2n. Step 2, undo addition and subtraction. Well, once again, I'm going to circle my x. I want to keep that right where it is. Let's look. Do we have addition or subtraction? Yes, we do right here. So when I transpose that to the other side, if it's adding, now we're going to subtract 2n to the other side. Those cancels. Now this is an m, this is an n. They are not like terms. They cannot be combined. So we have m minus 2n equals 2x. Once again, I'm going to circle my x. I want to keep that right where it is. So step 3, undo division. There's no division here. Undo multiplication. The 2 is right next to the x, so it's being multiplied. So we're going to divide by 2. And I divide the whole thing by 2. The 2's over here cancel, so we get x is equal to m minus 2n all over 2. And we can leave our answer just like that. All right, let's take a look now at number 3. It says solve for p. A equals p parentheses 1 plus rt parentheses. So since I want to solve for p, I'm going to circle the p. I want to keep that right where it is. So step 1, undo parentheses if needed. Well, let's think about this. If I were to distribute, how many p's would I then have? I would have 2 p's, and I don't want 2 p's. I want to have just 1, so I'm going to keep that right where it is. So this is an example we're not going to undo the parentheses. So let's take a look. Undo addition and subtraction. Well, Right now, that addition's inside of the parentheses. The p is being multiplied to the parentheses, so we're going to undo multiplication here. So right now, our p is being multiplied to the parentheses, so I'm going to divide by the parentheses. Divide by 1 plus RT. So this whole parenthesis cancels with that whole parenthesis, and we're left with p is equal to A over 1 plus RT. And that's our final answer. Okay, let's take a look now at number 4. Solve for x. So I'm going to circle the x. Why don't you go ahead, put the video on pause, and I'd like you to try this one on your own. All right, we're back. Let's take a look here. So did you get x equals d minus c all over b? Well, let's take a look. You subtract the c, you get d minus c, and then you divide by the b. We've got it. All right, let's take a look now at number 5. So number 5, here it says we're going to solve for y. So I'm going to circle my y. I want to keep that right where it is. So step 1, undo parentheses. We don't have any. Undo addition and subtraction. So let's take a look. We have subtraction here. So let's go ahead and let's add the x to the other side. Okay, and when we do that, now we're going to have m plus x equals 2 over 3y. Okay, next step. We're going to undo division. So if I take a look here, do we have division? Yes, we do. There's a 3 dividing the 2 and the y. So to undo it, we're going to multiply by 3. We're going to multiply this whole thing by 3. So the 3 cancels with the 3, and now we have 2y equals, now over here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to distribute this 3. So it's 3m plus 3x. Now, again, here's my y. So next, we're going to undo your multiplication. So here the 2 is being multiplied to the y, so we're going to divide by 2. So my 2's cancel, and my final answer here is going to be 3m plus 3x all over 2 equals y. So when you have a fraction, just think of it as you're dividing by the bottom number and multiplying by the top number. Now, some of you may also realize that you can also just multiply by the reciprocal. You may also do that as well. Okay, so let's take a look now at our last example here. Solve for m. T equals 4m all over x plus 2. So I'm going to circle my m. All right, and now this whole thing is being divided by a binomial. Now remember, a binomial is a quantity. Quantities go into parentheses. All right, so let's take a look. Undo parentheses, there's no distribution here. Undo addition and subtraction, nothing is being added or subtracted to the m. Undo division. Well, I'm definitely dividing here. We're dividing by x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x plus 2. Okay, so this will cancel, and we have 4m is equal to, now I'm going to take the t and I'm going to distribute it to both of those. So t times x is tx, and t times 2 plus 2t. Okay, once again, I'm going to circle the m. I want to keep the m right where it is, and now we're going to undo our multiplication, so I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 4's cancel, so m is equal to tx plus 2t all over 4. And that's our final answer. All right, so let's flip the page. We've got one more problem, and it's an exam style question. So let's take a look here. We have the volume of a large can of tuna fish can be calculated using the formula V equals pi r squared h. Write an equation to find the radius in terms of V and h. Write an equation to find the radius r in terms of V and h. So that means we want everything to be r equals. So we want this to be r equals. Solve in terms of r. So here's my equation. So I'm going to circle the r. I want to keep that exactly where it is. And I want to bring everything else to the other side. So if I take a look, there's no parentheses, there's no addition, there's no subtraction, there's no division, but there is multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides by pi h. Divide by pi h. The pi's cancel, the h's cancel. So now we have r squared equals v over pi h. But now we still have this r squared. So how do we get rid of a square? That's right, we're going to square root it. So square root both sides. So our final answer here is r equals the square root of v over pi h. And now you've got it. All right, so let's take a look now at the second part of this question. Determine the diameter to the nearest inch of a large can of tuna fish that has a volume of 66 cubic inches and a height of 3.3 inches. So remember, the diameter is going to be all the way across the circle. That's the diameter. Remember, the radius is just half of the diameter. So let's go ahead and take a look. So they're giving us the volume and the height. Now that's very similar to this formula up here. So V equals pi r squared h. So let's plug in what we know. The volume is 66 equals pi r squared, and the height is 3.3. Okay, so I want to solve for the r. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by pi and 3.3. Now, because I'm dividing by two things, when I plug this in the calculator, I have to put it in parentheses. Okay, so let's try that out. So we're going to have 66 divided by parentheses pi 3.3. If you forget the parentheses, it's going to make your answer not correct. And there we go. So we have r squared equals, the pi's cancel, and we're going to get 6.36619. We want to keep a lot of decimals right now. We don't want to round until the very end. But now we still have to take the square root of that. So r is equal to, so we're going to go second square root symbol. Now if you want to take this answer and put it down here, hit the second button and then the enter button. Oops, nope, that didn't work. So we're going to hit second square root, and it's second answer. The answer will bring it right down, and then we hit enter, or you can just type in the number again, 6.36619. Oops, and then there we have it. So we're going to get 2.523. But now, this question didn't ask us for the radius, it asked us for the diameter. So I know to find the diameter, we're just going to multiply this by 2. So let's go ahead and we're going to multiply by 2. And it says to the nearest inch, so it's going to be 5 inches. So ladies and gentlemen, today was all about your literal equations, manipulating the equation. And we also ended with one exam style question. All right, nice job today with day number 3.